Hello, and welcome to Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. I'm Daniel Pineda. We have a great news program for you. We have our news stories, community bulletin board, and 55 plus news. But first, a social media announcement. You can watch the Arlington Weekly News on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Arlington Weekly News and the number 1. Also on Facebook and WERA 96.7 FM. Now on to our first news story for today. As of Sunday evening, April 18th, reports show the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Arlington had reached 14,835. Regular viewers and listeners will know the continuing increase in our reported case numbers. Arlingtonians are still getting sick. 189 people in the last 7 days. Arlington's 3 nature centers are reopening on a part-time schedule. The Long Branch Nature Center at Glen Carlin Park will open on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. That center is located at 625 South Carlin Springs Road. The Potomac Overlook Regional Park will open on Tuesdays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. That center is located at 2845 North Marcy Road. The Gulf Branch Nature Center will open on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. That center is located at 3608 North Military Road. The varying schedules allow for at least some nature center visitation on every day of the week except for Monday. The regular park and trails at Gulf Branch are open every day from sunrise to sunset. Now on to our next news story for today. The process of changing the logo for Arlington County has begun, but a recent discussion among community leaders reflects a disinclination to change the county's name. According to NAACP President Julius Spain Sr., when we're talking about changing the name of Arlington, it may come a time when we need to have that conversation, but I believe changing the name of a county is a pretty heavy lift. County Board Member Dorsey said he is not in favor of throwing out everything that was the product of a certain time in history as the poisonous fruit of a poisonous tree. We did not consult residents of the original Arlington, which is a village in Gloucester, England. That village dates from Roman times. It was also the original home of an Englishman named Henry Custis. Henry's son, John, moved to the eastern shore of Virginia around 1650. And he built a 3-story house which he named Arlington. It is believed that he chose the name based on his family's ancestral home in England. Over a century later, George Washington Parke Custis, the step-grandson of George Washington, had a different house built on the estate that was originally called Mount Washington. A few years later, after the death of George Washington, Custis renamed the property Arlington after the older family homestead. Construction of the house began in 1803, 4 years before the birth of Robert E. Lee, with whom the house has more recently come to be associated. Although the historical connection between Robert E. Lee and the name of Arlington is tenuous, towns and counties have been renamed in the past. One example is the village of Snickersville, originally called Snickers Gap, That first name change took place in 1826 when the town was incorporated. However, by 1900, the increasing popularity of the nearby Blue Ridge Mountains convinced the owners of what later became the Washington and Old Dominion Railroad to petition the U.S. Postal Service to change the name of the town to Bluemont for promotional purposes. The request was granted on September 7, 1900. In 2021, the Washington and Old Dominion Railroad is gone, but the name of Bluemont remains. Meanwhile, the original English village of Arlington also remains, apparently indifferent to or unaware of the guilty association of its name. Arlington County held another COVID work session on Wednesday, that's April the 13th. Matt DeFerrante described it as another busy day. One item was the rescheduling of vaccinations of the recently paused Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The good news was an accidental duplicate shipment of Moderna vaccine, which enabled the alternative vaccinations. Dr. Ruben Varghese presented some slides. The first slide showed a graph of the COVID case count beginning with March 2020. He noted that the weekly count was hovering in the upper 200s. The second slide summarized the availability of COVID testing. Dr. Aaron Miller explained that Arlington County provides about 20% of the area's testing. He also noted that the positivity rate was about 4%. There is also a new test site in the courthouse area. The mobile unit is moving to Marymount University. A third slide showed Arlington still in the final stages of Phase 1, with the hope that the transition to Phase 2 would be able to include all members of the general public. Dr. Varghese encourages all Arlingtonians to pre-register. A fourth slide showed vaccine distribution data, including the fact that over 50,000 first doses of vaccine have been administered, along with over 25,000 second doses. A fifth slide showed a new graphic, vaccine doses as a percentage of a 60% initial state vax target. The figures were based on the number of Arlington residents over the age of 16. The number was estimated to be 197,592 people. The graph shows that only 40% of those people have had at least one dose of vaccine as of April 10th. The slide suggested that people who had received their second dose were fully vaccinated, but that is not technically true. The second dose takes an additional 2 weeks to become fully effective. The sixth slide showed Virginia's data breaking down vaccination by ethnicity. The graph was not particularly useful in one respect. It showed 26.6% of recipients were white, but it also showed that 47.8% of the recipients did not have ethnicity specified. The seventh slide was not much better. It showed only 0.7% of recipients with no ethnicity data, but that data was only based on Arlington residents vaccinated at an Arlington County Public Health Department vaccine clinic. Therefore, the graph displayed nearly complete statistics, but from an incomplete data set. The eighth slide showed the locations for vaccine distribution: Sequoia Plaza, Lubber Run, Walter Reed, Crystal Drive, the Arlington Free Clinic, CVS, Harris Teeter, and Safeway. These locations can be accessed by appointments only. The ninth and final slide was labeled Vaccination in the Community. It displayed the 3,150 calls made for vaccine appointments, the 350 people in correctional facilities and homeless shelters who had received at least one dose, the 80 people who had received at least one dose via field missions, and it mentioned the idea of homebound vaccinations without providing any definite numbers. After that, the meeting shifted to general questions. Most of these resulted in a reiteration of existing information. One item mentioned was that a first dose of vaccine does reduce the risk of COVID by a little better than 50%. This disclosure could have the negative effect of convincing first dose recipients to relax their personal mitigation procedures. We want to point out that even 2-dose recipients only reach 90% protection 2 weeks after the second dose, and that 90% protection is still 10% risk. At this time, it appears that no one is guaranteed absolute immunity. The discussion shifted to the hope that vaccinations would be approved for younger children aged as little as 12, but there is nothing definite yet. The question of a complete return to schools in September came up again, but nothing is certain yet. Communications with the public remain problematic due to mistrust on the part of some members. One very valuable point was raised that each person who contracts COVID provides an opportunity for the virus to mutate. The fatalistic resident who's willing to take their chances also acts as a human laboratory for the emergence of new variants. There is an upcoming reduction in vaccine availability, but there is hope for additional progress. There was final discussion of CVC, the Complete Vaccination Committee, an organization trying to encourage vaccination participation. Well, that does it for the news. Now on to Community Bulletin Board, or CBB.
Hello, and welcome to CBB. We'll start with an event being held through the Arlington County Public Library. Their nonfiction book club will be discussing the book of the month, White Trash, the 400-year untold story of class in America. It's a groundbreaking, best-selling history of the class system in America. In the book, Nancy Eisenberg upends history as we know it by taking on our comforting myths about equality and uncovering the crucial legacy of the ever-present, always embarrassing, if occasionally entertaining, poor white trash. This meeting will be held on Zoom. You can register on the Arlington Library website. Meeting registrants will be emailed the Zoom meeting information the day before the event. That's on Wednesday, April 28th, from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. This is a virtual event. Next up, here's an event for kids aged 3 to 10 years. It's a chance to join up on Facebook, where community arts expert Ms. Jin is leading an abstract expressionism arts and crafts activity for children. Kids will use the sounds they hear in nature to create a beautiful painting. Here are some suggested project supplies: thick paper or canvas, paint and paintbrushes, a water cup, paper plate or tin foil for a palette, and a paper towel. Rec at Home presents free daily virtual activities geared for preschool and elementary audiences aged 3 to 10. Kids can join them every weekday for exciting adventures based on a fun monthly theme. That's on Thursday, April 29th from 3 o'clock to 3:15 p.m. Since this event is on Facebook, there's no registration or activity number. Just check it out online. The next event is called Animal Tracks. No, it's not a collection of musical numbers performed by animals, although that might be interesting. This event is all about the footprints that animals make in the ground. Have you ever seen animal tracks in mud, but would like to take your own footprints home? Kids aged 6 to 10 years are invited to come and make plaster animal feet, and while they set, we'll hike the forest looking for tracks and traces. You'll need to register children and adults because children must be accompanied by a registered adult. For information, call 703-228-6535. You can register online or call 703-228-4747. The activity number is 632-921-C. That's on Friday, April 30th from 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m. at Long Branch Nature Center at Glen Carlin Park, 625 South Carlin Springs Road. Our last event in CBB is called City Nature Challenge 2021. This event includes over 100 cities on 6 continents in a contest to see who can document the most nature with the most citizen scientists. Learn the basics of using iNaturalist, the app for this challenge. Then go out to Fort C.F. Smith Park in search of nature observations to contribute. This is the second day of a 4-day challenge, so you can use what you learned today to contribute over the rest of the weekend. You'll need to register children and adults because children must be accompanied by a registered adult. For information, call 703-228-3403. Register online or call 703-228-4747. That's on Saturday, May 1st, from 10 o'clock to 11:30 a.m. at Fort C.F. Smith Park, 2411 24th Street North. Now it's time for 55 Plus News.
Howdy, and welcome to 55 Plus News. Our first event is called Blunders That Shaped History. It's a chance to learn the little-known facts about history's worst blunders leading up to disasters like the sinking of the Titanic, Pearl Harbor, the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion, 9/11, and others where numerous lives were unnecessarily lost. Hear what really happened, the cover-ups, and more. The program will be presented by Charles N. Toftoy, author of Blunders, Shocking Mistakes That Altered History. You can register online or call 703-228-4747. Activity number is 913-400-15, and it's coming up on Wednesday, April 28th from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. This is a virtual event, which is probably safer when you think about it. You gotta be 55 and up, and 55 plus membership is required. Now this next event is called Line Dance in the Park. If you missed last week's event, here's another chance to participate. If you enjoyed last week's event and want to come again, well, that works too. Line dance is easy for beginners and lots of fun for everyone. You don't need a partner, just line up and watch as the leader demonstrates the steps. The instructor will still be Judy Garth. You can register online or call 703-228-4747. Activity number is 913-701-7, and it's coming up on Friday, April 30th from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock a.m. at Virginia Highlands Park, 1600 South Hayes Street. Gotta be 55 and up, and 55 plus membership is required. Next up, in the 1962 movie The Music Man, what was Professor Harold Hill's real first name? What was the actual treasure of the Sierra Madre? Who played Gary Cooper's kid brother in the movie Sergeant York? Which actress played the female lead in both Sergeant York and Yankee Doodle Dandy? Test your knowledge in this sure-to-be fun-filled movie trivia game. You can register online or call 703-228-4747. Activity number is 913-601-7, and it's coming up on Friday, April 30th from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. Ages 55 and up, and 55 plus membership is required. This, again, is a virtual event. After all, whichever film comes up, it's only a movie. Finally, in 55 plus news, we got something called Healthy Feet. Now, our feet take a pounding every day, and years of poorly fitting shoes reduced circulation, and sheer abuse can all lead to foot problems. Podiatrist Dr. Gregory Cardinal will discuss common foot ailments and treatments. Register online or call 703-228-4747. Activity number is 913-500-9. That's on Monday, May 3rd from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. Gotta be 55 and up, even your feet, and 55 plus membership is required. Anyway, that's all I got for 55 plus news.
The following is a press release from Arlington Independent Media, which I will read verbatim. Arlington Independent Media, AIM, a non-profit organization dedicated to making media production accessible to all, will celebrate 39 years of serving the community with a virtual gala on Thursday, April 29, 2021, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. The online event will be hosted by author, advocate, and AIM WERA producer Krista Jones, and will feature performances by local artists, including poet Nalim Patel, singer-songwriter Jasmine Gillison, Jane Franklin Dance, and soul music dynamo Kaz Gardner. In addition to celebrating AIM's history of making media production accessible to the community, these events celebrate the resiliency, ingenuity, and grit of the staff and volunteers who helped AIM pivot and continue to meet its mission throughout the global COVID-19 pandemic. Like the rest of the world, we've had to learn some hard lessons about what will and won't work right now, said Lynn Borton, president of AIM's board of directors. Do we want to get back into the studios? You bet. Are our commitment and value diminished even while we can't? Not a bit. I'm so proud of the AIM community. COVID-19 was a huge disruption to our work. We had to close our facilities to our members and the public. Our staff, producers, and volunteers rose to the challenge, though, and throughout the pandemic, we've been able to continue providing online media education and production support services to individuals, businesses, government agencies, and nonprofit organizations. In new ways, from new places, often with newly acquired skills, we were able to tell the stories of the extraordinary year unfolding around us. AIM is hosting other fund drive events over the month, including Coachella, a 2-night online concert on May 7th and 8th, featuring a wide array of musical performances from the D.C. region and beyond, and an online charity auction with fine art, crafts, vacation property stays, classes, professional services, and gourmet gift baskets generously donated by AIM supporters. Details can be found at arlingtonmedia.org. Tickets for the gala and Coachella are available at arlingtonmedia.org and WERA.FM. About Arlington Independent Media, WERA. Since 1982, AIM has provided the community with top-quality media education, production equipment, and facilities, and access to distribution outlets, including cable television, FM radio, and the Internet. AIM TV programming can be seen on Comcast Channel 69 and Verizon Channel 38, and streams live at arlingtonmedia.org. WERA can be heard at 96.7 FM or streaming live at WERA.FM. AIM helps local nonprofit and government organizations get vital information to the community and supports local creators producing a wide variety of programming.
Now it's time for a little springtime fun. Love Got Called on Account of Rain, featuring the Overley Brothers. This afternoon was gonna be my a golden day. My baby doll was finally gonna see me play. But a great big cloud came and wrecked my plan. I lost my only chance and I'm a broken man. Love got called on account of rain, and now I'm gonna have to start all over again. Another guy is gonna come and take my place, and now I'll never even get to first base. I tried to tell her all about my big league dreams, but now I'm like a baseball from a part of the seams. I'll never get to show her what I'm all about, 'cause the first string quarterback is taken around. Love got called on account of rain, and now I'm gonna have to start all over again. Another guy is gonna come and kiss her face, and now I'll never even get to first base. Another guy is gonna come and kiss her face, and now I'll never even get to first base. Love got called on account of rain. I'm too broke up to start all over again. They're going off together, gonna have their fun, and now I'll never ever get a home run. And that's the Overly Brothers. You know, they really shouldn't take these things so hard. And that concludes this week's show. Our regular commentary was replaced by the various AIM and WERA promotional messages, and there will be additional similar messages during the fund drive. We will be back next week with more news from Arlington. In addition, we will be taking a look back over the 40-year history of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News, which actually came into existence 1 year before Arlington Independent Media. Meanwhile, be careful, be safe, and be well.